30-second board. These are big topics this week. We've already hit on the Davies and Deegan hit, but there is one other piece of that. While Deegan was celebrating, getting booed, cheered, all of that, I couldn't tell from my vantage point down on the track, JT, but Davies was just sitting on the side of a berm. I didn't realize he was really emotional. The bike kind of blocked my view. But while he was doing that, a lot of veteran stars came over to support him, JT.
Yeah, I think the 30 board topic there is the perfect word, because for those riders on the 450 class, right before they go out for their own main event to go over and try to console Cole Davies, I think was very telling. It's telling of the level of respect they have for him as a racer. But I think many of them, you think about Aaron Plessinger. Let's go back to Detroit a couple of years ago and how he felt giving away that win and crashing out. I think they have been in that moment. They understand what that grief feels like, and they have lived to see the other side. And I think they wanted to tell him, like, hey, I know this hurts right now, but don't let this moment where you're so bummed about how this went outshine how well things are going for you and the improvements you've made. And think about where you're at. You just led this entire main event, and you are the focal point of the 250 West Championship with Hayden Deegan. And if they can just help him in that moment to think big picture and get past this so we can get to the other side, I think they're doing a great service to him. And I think it just spoke volumes about how they feel about Cole Davies too.
Yeah, and the character of those riders also to do that when they're locked in on their own race that's upcoming. We're going to preview the showdown now, one of the wildest showdowns you'll ever see, because it's nearly winner take all in 250 East between Tom Vialle, RJ Hampshire, and Seth Hamaker. And as you mentioned earlier on the show, Deegan has nothing to lose. Davies has nothing to lose. Deegan even made the joke maybe he'll take some bribery from the 250 East to help certain riders. He said he was joking. I actually look at Hamaker's position, and it's much like Davies, right? We talked about this last week. Yes, he is not championship experience like the other two, but this whole season has been a bonus. I feel like Hamaker could get it done, even though the data would probably say, no way, man, he's never been in this position, but I think he's game for it.
Yeah, I can't argue any of the scenarios, and I could probably make a great case for all three of these riders winning and have evidence as to why. You know, for Hamaker, I love what you said about he just seems a little bit carefree, and he should not be. He should be nervous by, I think, all counts. Everybody would be nervous in this scenario, but he doesn't feel that way. You know, and Tom Vialle, he was your 250 East champ last year. I think he got life breathed into his championship again through his performance at Pittsburgh. So this is all upside for Tom Vialle based off of where he was a few short weeks ago. In RJ Hampshire, listen, I would never want to be in the way of RJ Hampshire in a championship. When you tell me that all he has to do is go win the race and he wins the championship, that is a very scary proposition for anyone trying to step in front of that freight train. So it's an amazing setup. We got the 250 West guys trying to sort out their own business, and they of course want to win the race too. I think it's 6-1, half a dozen the other. You tell me who wins, and I could probably tell you why they did.
Yeah, that's what makes it so fun. When that gate drops, it is going to be unbelievable at Salt Lake. And then the next gate drop after that, we'll have the 450 title, which is still up for grabs. We got to give the visor nod to Chase Sexton here. That was another domination run in Denver. They couldn't touch him.
Yeah, and this has been what we've seen more times than not. When Sexton doesn't make the pivotal mistake, when everything's clicking, I would have to agree with his sentiment that he's the best rider in many of those moments. And this was more proof of that. You know, his East Rutherford performance this weekend was, you know, that maybe it wasn't 16 seconds, it was more like 10, but there's no one that was watching or was in attendance that wouldn't say, yeah, that number 4 on the KTM was the best rider tonight, you know, and that's what's going to be, I think, the most difficult thing for him to swallow if he's unable to win this championship, is that he was arguably the best rider in the series, and yet he's going to come up short through his own mistakes. And he's the one that's going to have to live with it. We have talked about it time and time again, how many opportunities he's had to take charge of this championship, and through small mistakes that lead to big point swings, it's unlikely that he's going to be champ, Weech.
Nothing ever will stand out like Arlington, where he had the overall and he blew that one. And those points alone would make it maybe a winner take all this weekend, but it's not. Now, we have a little debate here between the way Webb and Sexton have been treating each other. Now, they're going out of their way in the press conference to be ultra respectful to each other. Sexton even brought up that he looked up to Webb when they were amateurs and the Yamaha profile as they moved through the ranks. He was on an 85 when Webb was in the B class on a 250. That's all well and good, but there has been this gesture stuff after the race. We had the finger guns, then we had the put the baby to sleep. Now Sexton used something he called the grenade. Are they respectful or are they not respectful? Where are they here?
I think they are. They respect each other a lot. I do. But I think for Cooper Webb, he might be trying to get Chase Sexton off his game a bit. And I'll go back to the previous topic where Chase Sexton's likely the best rider on the racetrack. And for Cooper Webb, if he can do anything to get him out of his rhythm, off his game, that's a net positive because he doesn't want Sexton to be in the groove, to be in a rhythm, because there's many times not much Webb can do about that if he allows him to get to that spot. So picture perfect example, Pittsburgh, if he can get him to not blitz the whoops and jump like Cooper Webb's doing, then the results seem to be altered from that. So, there's two sides to it. That's where the debate comes in. I don't always know if it's the best way to go about things. I think you instigate some hard feelings. We saw Chase Sexton really get aggressive on a couple laps in, second lap there in Denver. I think you maybe create some hard feelings, and when the door is open, maybe he tries to walk through that door aggressively because of the hard feelings. So there's two sides to the coin. It's really interesting. I don't think we're going to see Cooper Webb change his ways, but it's really fun to talk through both sides of how the result can be of that.
Well, all this potential drama will play out on the floor of Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake. We're going to look at the track map here, JT. Maybe one of these corners on this track could live in infamy like that one in Vegas years ago with Savacci and Osborne. What do you think when you look at this track map?
Well, the first thing that jumps out to me, there's some really big rhythm sections on this racetrack. And when I think about the elevation we'll be at, which takes away a lot of the power, especially for the 250s, they're going to have to stretch to put these things together. And could that play a role in these championships? Tom Vial has shown a little bit of hesitation to put the biggest rhythm sections together on this track. So that's going to be a test for these riders. And then you look at the whoops coming right out of a bowl berm. Who can get the speed built up and really blitz through those things? Or you guys like Cooper Webb and Justin Cooper, are they able to stay a little bit low in the corner, find a rhythm through those whoops, and offset any momentum that riders would be able to carry by slingshotting out of that bowl berm? But again, I'll go back to the rhythm sections, and how they are able to execute those lap after lap. That's going to be the key to Salt Lake.
This is becoming an annual tradition. Our friends at Rocky Mountain ATVMC put together a golf tournament to raise some funds for St. Jude. JT, you've gotten to attend that before. What's it like?
It's a really cool event. The fun part, I think, outweighs how great of an event it is for St. Jude Children's Hospital. And everybody that goes there has a great time. They all understand that the auction that's going on right now and also held at this particular event benefits that race to find a cure for children's cancer. So if you ever have an opportunity to be a part of this, join one of the teams there, I would highly recommend it. The weather in the spring in that area of the world is really nice. And yeah, you won't find anybody that's attending that doesn't appreciate their time there.
Okay, and if you can't attend the golf tournament, there's other ways to help raise funds for St. Jude. And this is awesome. The annual auction with race-worn gear, race-worn graphics and plastic off the motorcycle, Stasics, and a lot of other cool items. Go to supercrosslive.com/St. Jude to see the auction items. And JT, we were joking about this before we actually recorded the show. To, for example, get the jersey Ken Roczen wore in the race at Indy, amongst many others. Maybe I'm naive. I don't feel like that's happening in a lot of other sports. People wear their favorite NFL player's jersey, but that's a replica. These are actual things that the athletes actually wore. To us, it's normal. But the fans, this is unbelievable that you can buy this stuff.
No, I think you make a great point. And maybe I'm just numb to it because I raced for so long and I was around it so much. But to your point, the authenticity of these items, I don't think can be matched in any other place or any other sport. But for me, I like the stuff that's a little bit out of that spectrum. Like you think about, there are guitars that have been signed by all the legends of the sport, and these rare items that you're simply never going to see. I've been looking at autographed jerseys for decades, so that is not the draw for me. But the great point of this is this auction has a little bit of something for everyone, and random unique items that you would never even think are available you can find on that website that you gave, Leach.
Yep, that's supercrosslive.com/St. Jude auction running here. Everything they collected at the Love Moto Stop Cancer race at Indy. Some really cool stuff that would surprise your friends when you have it hanging in their garage. Like, where did you get that? Well, that's how you get it. Also, this would surprise some people. So Jet Lawrence shows up at the Met Gala.
Nervous as like crazy. This is very out of my domain. Very out of it.
So more nervous than like an A1 start?
Well, yeah, I kind of know, like, I'm in my territory with dirt bikes and A1. This is not my territory at all, not even close.
The maybe highest end fashion event of the year in America. I explained this to my teenage daughter last night. I'm like, if America had a ball, like you hear royalty, they'll go to the royal ball. This is probably the closest that the United States gets to it. And it is a who's who of every major celebrity and musician and actor and actress and athlete. And there's Jet Lawrence walking among them. That was amazing to see.
Yeah, this is really cool. And I think, on multiple fronts, for Jet, it had to be a fantastic experience to be recognized amongst that group. And I think on a larger picture, the sport being involved with all of the mainstream sports we think about, all of these icons from every walk of life. Well, our SMX world champion, Jet Lawrence, amongst them. And I mean, look at him. He looked the part. Like, this kid is like Adonis walking around. And I just think it's a sign of the times when you look at where our sport is, how much it's grown, how much it's being recognized. And for him to be there, I think was just proof of that.
Now, back to the serious business of racing. This we didn't even have on the radar. There is suddenly a battle for third in the 450 class of Supercross because Ken Roczen is going to miss the last two races with the ankle injury, and that puts Justin Cooper and Malcolm Stewart. We thought it was a battle for fourth. Now they're in reach of third, and I've got to think there's now money on the line. I don't know about top four, but top three. And boy, did they race like it was on the line in Denver.
Yeah, they were going for it. There was a podium at the particular race on the line. There's this battle for third in the points on the line. And yes, somewhere there is a monetary value applied to this. Like, they're definitely racing for some bonus money, but you just think about what this means outside of that. Forget about the money. Getting third in the championship is a big deal. It is a big deal. Saying I got third carries a lot more weight than getting fourth. And you could say it's because of the podium dynamic. We put so much emphasis on the top three, but it does matter. And when you think about these riders in contract years, whether it's with the OEM or gear companies or whoever, that stuff carries weight. So they're definitely going to be thinking about it going into Salt Lake. And if there's a little bit more aggression, or they're just look like they're trying harder than the other people around them, that's going to be why.
And I think there's a rider, also it's close in points for seventh right now. I think there's a rider in that group who actually would feel the same way. Dylan Ferrandis is close. Justin Hill is close. Barsha's idle because he's out with a knee injury. Shane McElrath has a shot at seventh in the series. I don't know if there's money on the line for that, but I got to think if you're McElrath, same thing. You tell him in Anaheim 1 he's going to get seventh in the 450 class, he's going to be stoked, so he's going to go for it.
He should. If you think about the trajectory of Shane McElrath's career, he was a great 250 racer. He just was so close to winning a 250 championship. He ends up losing to Chase Sexton in that 2020 SLC 7. But it really hasn't come to fruition in the way that other riders around him. Look at Chase Sexton's 450 career versus Shane McElrath's. But getting seventh, it matters because I think it's proving that, hey, I belong. I was a solid top 10 guy. I got a podium this year, and I am amongst some very talented racers that maybe one day I thought it would be a no-brainer, but here I am. So I just think it's affirmation if he could get seventh in this championship of the type of season that Shane McElrath has had, which has been, honestly, it's been very admirable.
Yeah, and Ferrandis on the Phoenix Racing Honda has been better as of late. He'd like to end the series on a high note. Now, Justin Hill, he's trended the other way, but it's Justin Hill. Watch him get a podium on Saturday. That'd be so Justin Hill. He did it actually at this race a couple of years ago. You just never know with him. They're all fighting for that same spot in points. But what they're not fighting for, JT, this one is already done. It's already clinched. I have never questioned any of the calls that the AMA has ever made on anything, including this, because I was handed the trophy. I apparently won the Media Award of Excellence from 2024. So there you go. I got to clink trophies even with Chase Sexton. Winners find ways, JT.
Now, this was awesome. I might be your biggest fan when it comes to this stuff. I watch all of your videos you do. And listen, there are some of our friends, some people around us that thought you were undeserving.
It's great.
I claim it's pure jealousy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I would just tell them, hey, do a better job. Maybe this could be you if you could perform to the level that Jason Weigandt has for a long time. It's just finally being recognized right now. So congratulations, Weege. I think you are very deserving of this award, and it's probably long overdue.
Well, somewhat. I'm trying to find it on my desk. I actually have, hold on here. I'm going to get out of the screen. In this case right here, I actually have the 2003 award. I actually won the award in 2003. So I don't know if it's good to say you've won twice or bad to say it took 21 years to win it again. But as for our friends, yes, I know there are some in the media that really did want to win this. And when I found that out, I made sure to rub it in their face all weekend by putting the trophy in the press box so they could see it and just strive for something in 2025. Let's wrap this up. By the way, it's not a wrap up for SMX Insider. This is just the Monster Energy Supercross finale from Salt Lake. We've got Pro Motocross and SMX playoffs and World Championship coming up. But Salt Lake specifically, you see there on the screen, race day live coverage at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then a pre-race show, which I'll be hosting along with Justin Brayton and Adam Cianciarulo at 6:30, racing at 7 East, post-race show as well. And the 3-hour race show will also air live on USA Network, or you can watch on Peacock with the SMX Video Pass.
Hi folks, Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.